Yep, it's me again. They hate me, that's why they give a fuck about me at the same time as always. I am your host, JD Miles. The MGTOWs, they love to hate. Even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time as always, which is why they keep us relevant to this very day, and I'm back again. Fellas, we have an update to a previous video that I made. For those of y'all who haven't seen the video, which I'm going to link it in the comments section, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I brought up this, I spoke about, or reacted to a video, shout out to Poor Man Podcast, by the way. I made a video talking about this dude's situation, in which he volunteered to be a sperm donor for this woman who didn't want him to be in a relationship with her, but he refused. And then all hell broke loose. He signed the birth certificate, mistake number one, only then to find out that the child isn't his. The court started draining him, as well as he was giving money outside of the courts, mistake number two. Net, and that's the reason why I said him giving her money outside the courts is mistake number two, was that not only was it outside the court, but he was doing it out of quote unquote keeping the peace. When in reality all he did was just made him a dirty welcome mat. And she walked all over him. So many things that happened. And for those of y'all who haven't seen that video, it's going to be in the comment section. Watch that video first before watching this one. And again, shout out to the Poor Man Podcast. I'll leave the link to the full video in the comment section. Go check it out. As well as I got to give a shout out to all my sources as well for bringing this to my attention. To be honest, I didn't knew there was an update until my sources brought that to my attention. Shout out to y'all too. But yes, there's an update. So enough of me talking. Let's get down to business and see what this update is now about. I'm telling you right now, that motherfucker. Now, for those of y'all who can't read the fine print, I'll read it for you. You fucking liar. You are hungry for money. This is not what it seems, but you made it such a big deal. OMG. Are you really human, or are you an alien? God knows to be careful. The man will get you soon for everything you do. Praying for you. Wow. That motherfucker back there is not real.
Maria's mom's now saying, I'm an alien. Anyways, this entire web starts with three people. Me, Maria, and Brian Dale. Brian Dale, married at the time. Maria, sleeping with him anyways. And then there's me.
Oh, and forgot, people who have not seen the story yet, I'll leave a link in the pinned comments to the playlist with all of the parts in order. You got to check out this full story. I mean, this stuff should be on Netflix. So basically, this guy was 24. He met a woman that was in her 30s, and during a one-night stand, she said she wanted to have a kid. So he did what he did, assuming that he would just be a donor. Eventually, she reneges it and says, I do want you to be there. I don't have anybody else. I want you to be the father. He goes after the birth, signs legal documents that says he's the father. He becomes a father, gives her about $55,000 over the
which was the biggest mistake of his life, not even knowing that he wasn't the father. The biggest mistake of his life. Now he's on the hook. Fellas, as I told y'all before, learn from this man's mistakes. Let's continue.
over the course of a couple of years, lets her stay in the Airbnb, and that was a couple of years. And then later on, he finds out that the kid isn't his. He has paternity tests, but he's been fighting in court because he's still paying child support, even though he has 2 paternity tests saying that he is 100% not the father of the child. So not only is she a hoe, but she a crazy hoe, which is insane. So you guys got to go check out the full story if you haven't seen it. I'll leave a link in the pinned comments and in the description to the full playlist in order. Let's get back to it.
Here's what people aren't understanding. Maria asked us both to get her pregnant. Sperm donors. Both of us. But she told me that I was the only one. And that wasn't true. Obviously. She got pregnant in June 2021. And during that window when she conceived, I wasn't even around.
Wow.
Ryan seemed to be. So the question...
So basically, that right there proves it. But you were dumb enough to sign that birth certificate. Come on now. I mean, straight up, if the evidence is right there, then why did you sign the birth certificate? That is the biggest mistake of your life. Come on, let's continue.
The question is, did he know the truth the entire time and keep quiet? Or did she lie to him too? And that's how this starts. One lie that turned into a full-blown web. Amanda's next, Maria's best friend for years. Her husband Julian was connected to Brian, Maria's actual baby daddy, right around the time she got pregnant. We know that at a minimum, Brian told Julian, Amanda's husband, a bit. We think that they were friends, and we know that their connection overlapped the same time frame that Maria's hiding who got her pregnant. And we think they kept Maria secret. Maybe Brian's too. But it didn't stop at silence and secret keeping, because once we started speaking out, they really turned on us. Amanda began harassing Hadley online, Julian was threatening me directly, and it escalated to a point where we've now pressed criminal charges against both of them. Maria's former best friend is next.
Damn. By the way this shit sounds, it's getting uglier and uglier. More importantly, what is her friend's involvement in all this? Wow, so basically she's trying to get everybody, including the hotel bellboy, all up in this. I don't blame him for pressing charges either. Let's continue.
They were really close until she started dating Brian. And just like that, Maria flipped. Maria started messaging her ex-husband. She tried to help him take her kids away from her. All because she was dating the guy that Maria had been lying about for years. And while they're together, we believe that Brian told her the truth.
Low down, dirty woman. Low down. So not only is she screwing him over, but she's trying to wreck another couple's family. Boy, this is too much. This is too much. This is too much. This is too much. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Boy, she's going the distance with this, man. And I mean, it's not even funny. Let's continue.
That Maria had asked him to be a sperm donor. Here's another connection. I'm not sure if it means anything yet, but I'm going to mention it anyways. Maria's former best friend, she was last year's Mardi Gras queen, and Maria's boyfriend's ex, stay with me, is the current queen. This isn't just a title they hand out to anyone. This is a prestigious title and it means a lot in our small town. And we heard that this year Maria had been trying to be the queen herself. Maybe some small town.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm sure women will have a better perspective on this. Which brings us to this part of the web, Maria's boyfriend. Maria started dating Ryan around the same time I started dating Hadley. She told me that Hadley couldn't be around the kid, while some guy that I've never met was around the kid constantly.
Yeah, when you look at like...
What a fucking hypocrite she is. Oh, I don't want her around my child, but I could have another man around the child. Man, hypocrisy at its finest. Let's continue.
Like DV statistics against kids, they skyrocket when there's a stepfather in the house for boys and girls. So if for when stepfathers are involved, DV is far more likely. Not saying that it's going to happen because it hardly ever happens, to be completely honest. But the chances are significantly higher when there's a stepfather in the house for sure.
Troll freak shit, but that's just Maria. Michelle, Maria's cousin, is next. You've seen the videos, you've seen the lies that she spread. She didn't just defend Maria, she made it personal. She tried to get me and my girlfriend canceled, that's why she's here. Hadley's ex is next. Maria started commenting on photos of their kid.
And again, why she's getting her whole entire family involved in this? The mother, the cousin, the ex, she's trying to get everybody involved in this. No, scratch that. I gotta go the extra mile on this. Not only she's getting people involved, but she's making them go on a complete and utter sabotage mission. Trying to wreck him, trying to wreck other people's families. God damn it, you can't make this shit up. Let's continue.
Their kids, trying to get close to his family. Same pattern as her former best friend. It's fucking weird. And the former best friend is the one who completes this win. Because after all of this, but before I found out the truth from the DNA test, Maria's former best friend got pregnant by Brian Dale also. He had his first kid with his ex, he got Maria pregnant in 2021, and Maria's former best friend in 2023. Brian was also hanging out with Maria in 2022. So we know that he knows at a minimum that Maria had a baby 9 months after sleeping with him. So here...
Fellas, what has been said further proves our point. They will sleep with the same dude, get pregnant by the same dude, and then all of a sudden it's all the men's fault because of the situation that they are in. Again, God damn it, you can't make this shit up. Let's continue.
Here we are. I think almost every piece is in place, but there's still some things that aren't adding up to me. If Maria cared enough about Brian to try and ruin her best friend's life because she dated him, and she went to him immediately after I got a DNA test, why even involve me in the first place? If she was just trying to extort me for money, how many people knew about it and said nothing?
Exactly. I mean, you got to think about it. They in a group chat right now. This seems choreographed. They in a group chat right now talking about this, how they going to go on the post and say, well, I guess, you don't really need a conspiracy if interest.
Yep. Google chats, group chats, Google Hangouts, Skype sessions, all trying to plot, scheme, and sabotage. And they don't care who gets collateral damage as long as they get what they want. Typical behavior. Let's continue.
Interest align, right? So they're all trying to get this Brian guy to avoid accountability because if he's held liable in the state that he's in, his wife can take 100% of his holdings in his business. So that's why they're trying to avoid accountability from him. So I guess if all of their interests align and they're all trying to protect him, you don't really need a formal conspiracy because it kind of all aligns.
Friends, but no one I'd be willing to send death threats to and risk jail time. And sorry to all my cousins out there, but I'm not going to publicly harass you over your lies either. Even Brian's ex, we felt bad for her because we thought that he cheated on her. And she's now in my comments calling me a clout chaser and a liar because she's claiming Julian and Brian have no relation to each other. I don't know about you guys, but this post looks like Julian and Brian have some relations to me. Just...
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Fellas, I swear, it just keeps getting better and better. you could tell that she made those posts in her feelings and emotions. And believe me, I studied this long enough to understand this shit. If it gets down to a point to where she is now thinking emotional, this is the reason why she had to make all those posts, sitting there trying to cover up shit, only for the evidence to turn right back around and call her bullshit on her claims. If this is not narcissistic behavior, I don't know what is. Let's continue.
Just maybe, I don't know. So my question is, why are all these people so dead set on silencing me? And why are they protecting each other? Because it seems
Elementary, my dear Watson. Because you are exposing them for the lies, the bullshit, and retarded fuckery that it is. And because you're exposing them and you bringing out the truth, it's like holy water being splashed on a demon. Oh, it burns! Oh, it burns! This is the reason why they now trying to go out their way to silence you. Because you're about to do something that's gonna fuck all their heads up. You're gonna do something that's gonna embarrass their asses, and it's gonna make them afraid, and it makes them afraid. Let's continue.
It seems to me that they've all really done each other wrong here. And then Amanda just said this, that I was so close to the truth. Poor guy. What does that even mean? Small towns talk. 3 years of silence is telling. We're in real time now. How they not have gotten this far? But we still have those questions I just asked, and we can't figure them out. I'm going to take over what happened in court next, and hopefully we have some mugshots.
Okay.
But I really think y'all can help me figure all this out.
Hey, Brett, give me a call. It's Norris. I'm not down for this made for Hollywood shit or whatever it is you got out there. I'm not that kind of lawyer. I don't do shit like that. I don't want to represent you anymore.
What kind of lawyer are you?
What kind of lawyer isn't looking for their big moment to have their big break in such a public case where the person that you're defending is obviously innocent because you literally have DNA evidence?
A bullshit ass lawyer, that's what. That's what. And if you ask me, Uncle JD says this. He might as well just be a public pretender. An actual lawyer, an actual serious lawyer will dive head first in this type of shit. I mean, he's just as worse. I ain't gonna lie. He's just as worse as Tory Lane's lawyer. Basically, how can I say this? He was only there for show. But now that the shit is hitting the fan, it's gonna be one big clusterfuck, and things are now getting serious. Oh, now he wants to back out. And I talked to plenty lawyers. Here. You think those lawyers don't want to be part of some made up Hollywood bullcrap? Then I don't know what fentanyl you're taking. But that's bullshit right there. Let's continue.
I think this is weird. Like, this is a level of bias where a lawyer is literally leaving a case because a man is presenting his case to the public and getting millions of eyes on a case where he is obviously innocent in said case. This would be your moment to prove your value. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if you're a lawyer to get a certain amount of exposure that you may never get an opportunity to get in your life. So the biggest loser, if he chooses to withdraw, which it says here, if he chooses to withdraw, he's the biggest loser. He played himself, really.
Off the gate. Off the gate. And there's no way around that shit. And there's no way around that shit. And rather, he just proved to everybody that he is a weak ass lawyer. And 9 times out of 10, I bet he probably got him cheap. Buddy, next time you get a lawyer, don't go for the cheap lawyers. They don't do shit. You're gonna have to come out the pockets and get yourself a highly experienced lawyer for this job. I'm just saying. Let's continue.
I'm filing to withdraw.
You all want to know, did I win in court? Does she have to pay me back? If you think that voicemail is bad, wait until you find out what happened in court. As you all know, I filed a fraud lawsuit on October 4th. I was asking for child support to end, to be taken off the birth certificate, and I wanted my money returned that I had paid her, plus attorney's fees and emotional damages. Right. Here's the thing you really need to keep in mind.
Paternity fraud.
Mississippi has a law that you only have 1 year to do a DNA test, or you pay child support forever.
Wow.
The only way out of it is to prove paternity fraud. And proving fraud is almost impossible. So I was looking at 19.
So after the year, so in the state of Mississippi, if you don't get it done within a year, then it's just basically dad by default. And you see, this bullshit is the reason why. We all here fighting for these laws to fucking change. Because in a nutshell, it's still dad by default. Despite what people are saying, because some of these states still have that law. But again, this is why we fight to make paternity tests mandatory and to convict paternity fraud. But let's continue.
19 more years of child support for a baby that wasn't even mine if I lost in court. On October 9th, Maria filed an emergency restraining order on behalf of her and the baby. She implied that the DNA test was false. Which, Maria, shame on you for doing that after what I just found out you did the day before. I'll tell y'all what we found out soon. Someone we thought was innocent is not. Anyways, now I have no lawyer, a gag order, and have to remove all of my social media posts.
That's so crazy. It's so crazy how the man always gets the gag order and the woman is just allowed to go make up any story that she wants, even if he has tangible evidence. That's insane to me. So she could just go around the world slandering this man's name, making him seem like a deadbeat dad and all these other things. And he can't even combat it at all because he has a gag order?
And on top of that, they telling him to remove his post. And why should he have to remove his post? That's a First Amendment violation right there. Unless what he posts is crucial or critical, then they should not have a right to demand someone to delete their post. I swear to God, this system is so fucked up. Let's continue.
That's so biased, bro. This is it's unjust, right? Like we're taught that this justice system is supposed to be just, and this is just simply unjust. Like take those scales and shove it, because there's no balance in this. This is obviously biased and one-sided. It doesn't even make any sense at this point.
Straight up. What did Dr. Fate said in Injustice 2? Justice is blind, not heartless. thus proving our points once again. This shit is fucking rigged. But retarded fucks can't see past that. Oh, you're misogynist, you hate women, this type of shit. And for what? Because we calling out the bullshit and y'all can't take it? Fuck out of our faces. Let's continue.
Point. Family court is the only place you go where you are guilty as a man until proven innocent. You are guilty as a man as soon as you step into family court until you prove your innocence.
Searching lawyers who won't back down like my first lawyer did. I think many people online know about the Aubrey Wyatt story and her mother Heather being silenced in the same way. What I don't think people know is we live in the same town. So it's the same court system that has silenced both of us.
What a coincidence!
Welcome to South Mississippi.
South Mississippi, where they fuck their cousins and drink poisonous moonshine and all that jazz. Let's continue.
I hired the same lawyer that Heather did. We prepped for the upcoming court date on October 29th, and we're prepared to fight for my right to speak back.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is not only are the extreme left sides, like states, they have very skewed family court laws and stuff like that, but also when you get into the deep southern, hyper-traditional, like Republican side, they also have super biased family court systems too. You'll see it on both sides of the spectrum. And that's why it's like, for me, it seems like the only bipartisan agreement is that we're going to take advantage of men. Even though we're going to promote this equality amongst women, we're still going to take men to court and take advantage of them. It seems like the only bipartisan where the left and the right both agrees that, hey, this is what we're teaming up to do. It's weird.
And me being from Louisiana, Poor Man Podcast ain't lying about that. And yes, those courts down south, guilty until proven innocent. And a lot of men got fucked over by those goddamn courts. Let's continue.
Weird.
That day, Maria's lawyer spoke first. She asked the judge to close the courtroom to any outsiders and to issue a permanent gag order. My lawyer tried to refute this, but the judge didn't allow her to speak a single word. He just issued the order. Boom. Have a nice day. So now I'm
biased judge. Nope. A judge is not supposed to be biased. And I'm surprised his lawyer did not file a notion to remove that judge from the bench. And yes, fellas, in a situation where you believe that the judge is biased and is picking sides rather being fair and just, your lawyer, a good lawyer, can file a notion of incompetence against the judge. The judge gets removed and replaced by a judge outside the realm. Just some knowledge to give to y'all. Let's continue.
I'm banned from talking about what happened to me for the rest of my life. My one last hope was we had another court date coming up and
again, a direct violation towards his First Amendment rights. Basically, they treat him like this shit is communist North Korea. Let's continue.
And maybe he would hear me out then. So I decided to just stay quiet and prepare for court. Welcome to the birth of the binder. In January, I was sent a shit ton of questions from Maria's lawyer. Apparently, it's a process called discovery. I'll tell you what I discovered. Those questions made their legal angle clear. They were trying to paint it like I chose to be the dad. Like Maria and I were in a relationship, and I knew the whole time that the kid wasn't mine. It was insane, and it took me days to answer these questions. On April 1st, I showed up to court prepared, but I was really terrified of the possibility of having to pay child support for another 19 years. I was on the stand for 6 hours, and Maria never spoke. Maria's attorney asked me
oh my gosh.
proof that Maria knew she was deceiving me from the beginning. I laughed and I said, the DNA test and that she slept with someone else. This is a good example of how ridiculous this whole entire thing felt. Soon after, she showed
Got
me
that
the
right.
acknowledgement of paternity form, and it had my signature.
This is why you have to be very careful about when you sign that paperwork, because regardless of what you think socially or what you can prove with DNA evidence, legally speaking, you are liable for that kid. And if the woman wants to draw it out, she can make your life hell with lawyer fees and just dragging you through the court. If she wants to drag it out, she can, and she has the power to do so. There are a lot of women who are running rampant and weaponizing the state to hold men hostage, and I think it's insane. Obviously, the guy he was a horn dog, blobbity bloop. We get it. Like he was 24. He made a stupid decision. We get that part of it. He's already acknowledged that part of it too. But I mean, just
straight up, his biggest mistake was filing that was his biggest mistake was signing that birth certificate. Big mistake. But I'm gonna add something else too. There are times where these conniving ass women will sign a man's name on that birth certificate. Then they will be on that goddamn hook too. This is what paternity fraud is made of. However, he put his name on that birth certificate, so he screwed himself up by doing that shit. Now they're trying to use it as a weapon against him. But wait, there's more.
Just the idea that there's a freak apocalypse out here, and these hoes are just allowed to run the world rampant with no accountability. And it's because they want the privileges of being able to be promiscuous, but none of the consequences and responsibilities that come with being promiscuous. And they use the state as their enforcement arm, which that's what the men uphold. They use the state as their enforcement arm against men. I don't understand. Okay, so he signed this paperwork, right? If you sign a divorce paper and you're under duress, they can void it in court. Why can't you void this in court? What's the difference? How is he not under duress if everything's going on during a pregnancy or during a birth? Because anybody who has kids knows how chaotic it can be.
Yep.
And you sign some paperwork, that's a very chaotic situation, right? So you would assume that he would be able to claim duress and they would throw it out. But nope, men are held to a different standard. The scales in justice are not fair towards men, especially when they're in a dispute against women.
And this is why these women nowadays are now struggling to even get a mate. Why these men won't marry and all that other shit. Let's continue.
No tampering with it. It was 100% my signature. I don't even remember signing that in the hospital. Let me tell you what I definitely don't remember agreeing to. This line in the tiniest little print I've ever seen, signing this form is like the mother and father being married at the time of birth. And it said on there, I only had 1 year to challenge this, or I was responsible forever.
Oh man, they try to pull a fast one. So basically, they tried to set them up to try to make it seem like, oh, they were married. God damn, Scarface was right. Them bitches is smart.
I signed that. I did try to tell her attorney that I knew that form didn't matter if I could prove fraud. But the judge stopped me and said you could only say yes or no. I started to panic. Her lawyer gives her closing arguments, but also brings up a law on fraud in Mississippi. Apparently, one of the requirements to prove fraud is to know you're being frauded from the beginning. I thought to myself, if
oh man,
from the beginning, I wouldn't be sitting here. I felt like my heart would be out of my chest as we waited for the judge's decision. And then he made it. I had proven paternity fraud.
Let's go!
Woo!
Let's go!
Yeah! Man, what a plot twist! He has proven paternity fraud. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Congratulations. It seemed like they finally came to their goddamn senses on that matter. But yeah, man, yeah.
Let's go!
Woo!
Yeah! Somebody use reason. Because legally, he probably would have been on the hook. But luckily, he had a judge that was willing to use reason. And that's why, bro, when I go on like TikTok, I'm doing like these TikTok debates now where I go into these live streams. And I thought that it was like just the people making TikToks, a small representation. But even in these lives, like, there are so many women that literally hate men. I am in the red pill space, in the red pill sphere. And people make the argument that the manosphere and red pill guys, and I'm in the red pill space because regardless of what I want to be, people are just going to consider me that because of my opinions, regardless. So I just, whatever, I'll lean into it. But
straight up. And let's just be honest here. Nobody's trying to hear their retarded fuck shit because, as I stated before, from CNN to that fake blonde-headed to that fake blonde hair broad from Cosmopolitan to all these retarded fuck ass biased media. Nobody gives a fuck what they got to say. This is what the red pill is actually about. We got to call out this bullshit. And as I say before, it makes them afraid. This is the reason why they cry and bitch about, white supremacy, misogyny. Man, nobody's trying to hear that retarded fuck shit. Let's continue.
But even in this space where they say we quote unquote hate women and we practice misogyny, I've never ever in my life heard any man say that they hate women.
Not a single man in this space hates women. Manosphere don't hate women. Red pill don't hate women. MGTOW don't hate women. When are they going to get that through their retarded fuck-ass skulls? This is what it's really about. Not all that other dumb retarded fuck shit. Let's continue.
When you go into these spaces, there are women that genuinely hate men. And imagine the fact that, like, some of these women, and you'll see it on TikTok, some of these women are therapists, flight attendants. They have jobs. They work in the workforce where they're going to be inherently biased towards men because they literally, like, they just have a genuine hate for them, and it just goes unchecked. They have a hate for.
And you ain't, and Poor Man Podcast ain't lying either. And keep this in mind, fellas. This is the same TikTok that don't want the Manosphere, the Red Pill, MGTOW, none of these male spaces on their platform. But this is the same TikTok that has no problem having those dumbass feminists on their platform telling people, we need to kill all men. Men are subhuman. Men are this. Men are that. So basically, TikTok itself is biased as well as hypocrites. I've been exposed to that shit. Others been exposed to that shit. The moment somebody cries about these male spaces being misogynistic, y'all don't want them on your platform. Yet you're okay with having all these misandrous, man-hating women on your fucking platform. Hypocrisy at its finest. And this is the reason why I don't fuck with TikTok. And the only reason why they took action against those feminists claiming to kill all men was because they were pressured. If they wasn't pressured, they would have kept that shit up. Let's continue.
The hate for men. Now imagine if one of them gets on a jury or like one of them ends up being a judge and they have that same bias towards men. This could have went a different way. Luckily, his judge, though, had a balanced mind and was going like, hey, what are we going to do here? He literally proved it with paperwork. it would be unjust for this man to continue to pay child support under these circumstances. It's insane.
Certificate, and I didn't have to pay child support anymore.
Let me go back a little bit. I want to hear exactly what you said.
I have proven paternity fraud.
Okay.
I did the impossible. I was off the birth certificate, and I didn't have to pay child support anymore. I couldn't believe it. But then he had to decide on Maria having to pay me back. And the judge had a reference to the law about knowing from the beginning. So there's no way I'm getting any money back under the current Mississippi law, even though I proved paternity fraud. So the end result, I'm happy I'm not paying child support for another 19 years. That's the win.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
never lifted the gag order, and Maria will never have to pay me back a dime.
Wow.
I gave her over $50,000 for a child that wasn't mine, and she knew it the entire time. And I wasn't even allowed to clear my name. And what did Maria do when the judge said that? She was dancing. She was woo-hooing. She celebrated successfully scamming me.
Exactly. And this is why I said there will never be any accountability held towards these women. They're allowed to run rampant without any level of responsibility or consequence for their decision. And I have people in the...
And this is why the cycle continues. Because of this bullshit. But then these will be the same retarded fucks sitting there wondering why there are more men choosing not to get into relationships, why there are more men choosing not to get married. And the crazy part about it is that they want to act so dumb about it, as if they don't know why this shit is happening. Really? You don't know why? You don't know why? Because of shit like this. First, she tried to pin a baby on him that wasn't his, and he was dumb enough to sign the birth certificate. That was on him. But now it has been determined that this was paternity fraud, but yet she gets to keep all of his money. So basically, he got scammed, but the good news is he don't have to pay child support. What a bittersweet victory. That's all I can say.
People in the previous videos talking about, well, if he proves paternity fraud, then she's going to have to pay him back. That's the law. It's illegal to commit paternity fraud. It can cost up to 2 years in prison. That could be the sentence. And I'm telling you right now, I know divorce lawyers. I know guys who work in the family court system. Paternity fraud, number one, is hard to prove. And number two, even if you do prove it, they hardly ever take it out on the woman or punish the woman because she's the primary caretaker of the child. And since they don't know who the father is now, they don't want to lock the mother up and separate the family and separate the mom and the daughter or the kids. So single moms ain't got no money. Let's keep it a buck, bro. Single moms ain't got no money. They're the poorest demographic in America by far. And it makes sense. They have to provide for a child and try to provide a life. It makes sense that they're not going to be able to do both of those two things.
That's why they're looking for a Russell Wilson. That's why they got to pray the Sierra's prayer. Just hoping that some high value man worth his salt could come in and take care of them and their kids. Heard that so many times before.
So because of that fact, they hardly ever have to pay any money back because the state knows that they're broke too. So that's the bigger issue. The bigger issue is that women are allowed, like during this sexual revolution, all this promiscuity, feminism pushing all this nonsense for equality everywhere else in the world, but not in the family court system. This is not just and it's not balanced and it's certainly not equal. And so these women are allowed to run rampant because they fought to be able to do so. But then when the consequences come, family court and the law protects them every time from their consequences and responsibilities.
Hypocrites always want to play innocent. Always want to take things to the full out extent. Always want to make things seem like good intent. Never want to face it when it's time for punishment. Now, I know y'all don't want to hear my opinion. How many passes you must choose one. And if you don't change, soon the rain soon come. You might win some, but you just lost one.
That's the system we live in. You can commit paternity fraud and walk out of the courtroom celebrating. Wow. I might not be able to get my money back, but I'm going to make sure that no one else gets scammed like I was. Because of posting these videos, I was connected with Carnell Smith. He went through the same thing I went through, and he's making...
Yep. Shout out to Carnell Smith. And yes, remember, now fellas, remember I flown out to Atlanta, right? He was having one of his seminars out there in Atlanta, and lo and behold, guess what happened in Georgia? Y'all want to know what happened in Georgia? He pushed to change those laws out there in Georgia, just like what happened in Tennessee. However, in Georgia, the mother now has to prove paternity, and I'll say this again, in the state of Georgia, now the mother has to prove paternity before the alleged father gets put on child support. We are making progress, and we're not stopping, and we ain't gonna stop until each and every state in the U.S. changes their goddamn laws. Straight up. Let's continue.
He's making changes.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And I recently got a text that I was hoping for. I have a meeting next week with Mississippi policymakers, but it came with 2 conditions. It has to be at the Capitol in Jackson. Fine. And I have to bring Hadley with me. Apparently, they're big fans. Not gonna lie. Proud boyfriend moment.
Okay.
So basically, they're gonna tackle Mississippi next. Should I go down to Mississippi or not? I'd rather show support where I am. I don't like, to be honest, I actually don't like Mississippi at all. But they have my full support. Let's continue.
I have this opportunity to make sure that no other man is in the same position I was.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas on what I want to change, but the hardest part is going to be getting legislators to listen. And that's where you all come in. Lawmakers only care if you care.
I'm game.
For that meeting at the Capitol, I have one more person to hold accountable. There's a local paralegal whose silence, in my opinion, makes her just as guilty.
Oh, so he must have another part coming up. Guys, this guy's name is Brett Farley. You see it right here. People are asking me. You guys got to look at the screen. Brett Farley 0. Go check him out on TikTok. Go follow his story. Go comment. Go put pressure on these people because this is what needs to be done. Somebody has to do something about how unequal these family laws are. And I think the people who have gone through it are going to be the best people for the job. So for these guys...
Fellow MGTOWs, y'all heard everything. It's time for us to hold the line. Shields up, stand firm. We gotta let them know that we got their back too. I got his back. Who else is with me here? Off the gate. And I'm gonna stop this right here. Again, shout out to the Poor Man Podcast. I'll leave the link to the updated video in the comment section. Go check it out. Tell them JD Miles sent you, as well as click those links. Click those links. They'll be in the comment section as well. But that's all I got for tonight. I said what I had to say. I'm done, and I'm out this bitch. Later.